All right, we're live. Welcome everyone to an impromptu stream. Paizo should be going live here any moments with their big stream where they're going to talk about a lot of things and like upcoming books, what God is going to die. So we're actually going to watch it here. I got my friends for Riptide, or at least the ones who decided to be here today, over on in the chat here with me today.
Hello.
Hola.
I'm here to see who dies. I wouldn't miss it. It's important. And also we'll see if anyone else hops in, I guess. But my money's still on Saren Ray.
I think a lot of people are.
I think I've been seeing Saren Ray the most. And then
Yeah.
Gorham. Gorham's the second runner-up. Those are the two names I see.
I'd probably say Saren Ray too, but a close second is definitely Gorham.
Torag is still on the list. He's still there.
You're holding out. You're holding out for Torag.
We'll see. I'm so surprised Irori actually made it through. Honestly,
I also could see Iori, but like I'm surprised. Cause like I can see Iori being like a uh-oh. Man, this is bad. She's like a good deity. I don't know much about her, but she seems like a nice person.
Asmodeus is currently safe. So Asmodeus,
Yeah.
I think, is the first god to become safe.
One of the first, at the very least. First or second. Because I think the first was Pharasma, then second was Asmodeus.
Yeah, one of them.
Reverse those. It's like first or second.
Can't remember.
I was a little sad because my first was originally Nethys, but
I mean, I was Nethys for the longest time, and then the targeted attack that happened right after we had Michael Sayer on Table Talk. Definitely not something that they had planned for years, and it was only to attack me and my credibility.
And AJ Bernard, I'm not much of a book reader. You know what? That's funny enough. That's more in Alex's territory now.
Really funny you mentioned. Since that's something for no particular reason, I am been recently invested in. Stay tuned till Thursday, by the way. If you want to get started on a Pathfinder lore to actually learn the lore, the brief overviews in the core book, but the best possible starting point is going to be the Lost Omens World Guide. It gives you the largest overview of Galarian's history.
Well, they were asking about the novels specifically.
Novels? Does Pathfinder have novels?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I should pick those up.
I'm gonna flip the screen over here.
If it does and they're good, I'm gonna start reading those.
Do we have a recent picture of the gods by any chance?
I track it down, and it's probably it would be on the Paizo blog.
I'm not going far.
Why? Oh, that light must have got moved or something. Oh. Ooh, stuff is happening. Get my face out of the way.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
Let's see here. Shrink my camera down. Now, it might be pretty quiet. I'll do my best to adjust, but you can also just go check it out on the Paizo live stream. We're just doing this here live. Oh god, that's so quiet.
Rovagug, by the way, was the recent safe bet, Devin.
Yeah, I didn't think they were going to go for him.
He is not producing any sound.
Yeah, there's no audio.
They're having some tech difficulties.
So many people are going to cry today, I feel like. I feel like if any god, it's going to be Saren Ray.
Yeah, because there's probably a deeper reason, but like I think the god that was featured in season 1 of Critical Role, killing her off, would be funny. That's where I know her from, so.
Oh yeah, they have audio problems all the time, which is bizarre considering they stream like not too not too infrequently.
And also, they're using Discord, so Discord is probably messed up on his end.
Maybe.
Or whoever's recording, either or.
Well, this is why we're here to entertain.
Like immediate chat message I see, I can lip read. He definitely said Saren Ray got what she deserved. Well, I guess you heard it here first, folks. First chat message I saw. Pharasma is also confirmed safe, by the way.
Yeah, the gods who are safe right now are Erasil, Caden Callian, Desna, Aurori, Nethys, Pharasma, Osmodius, Zonkathon, Urgotha, and Rovagug.
I'm happy Zonkathon is confirmed safe, because I have a cool character idea that'd be fucked up if Zonkathon was dead.
You're not gonna get rid of the monster girl god.
I don't think that's the reason why, but
yeah, Lamashtu.
It's a weird framing of it, but
yeah, weird way to put it. Pharasma Death could open some doors, but Pharasma's also safe.
Yeah,
so
that's why I brought that up.
They're doing something. I don't know. A lot of hand gestures going on.
They had someone come on and say, "We'll take up just a few minutes." And like, I don't think it's because of Critical Role. I just think that's my another dumb reasoning. That's my Nethys reasoning. He's miming death.
I don't think it's because of Critical Role. I think it's because of D&D though.
Yeah, because it's associated with D&D. That's my conspiracy reasoning. It's the same amount of logic and thought I put into my Nethys is gonna die theory. So this time when I'm proven right. Oh, I hear music again.
Yep.
Yeah, they went back to the starting screen.
They went back to starting soon.
I don't know who's the dual gods in this picture, but maybe that's so they could be like, haha, we killed 2.
Those aren't gods.
Oh.
That's the wizard. I can't remember the wizard's name. Yeah, I can't remember his name. And then that is, I think, an android.
Then why are they here?
Android's using like a pretty futuristic assault rifle. Or at least it looks like one. It might just be like a fancy looking arquebus. I don't know. The iconic operative.
I think,
interesting that they would choose
Kevin's talking about the God's Reign Prophecies picture, not the streaming picture.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
The storm ghost with his like blue girlfriend, right in the middle.
Oh, that's Gazra, the god of like weather, nature.
Oh, that means we're getting Starfinder stuff too today. Hell yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Has it been confirmed that we will have content for beyond level 20? No, not yet. Though we might hear about that today. That's what we're here for. So,
Ooh.
At least one stream about Paizo's going well today. So hopefully we'll be able to give you guys that information soon. Yeah, it's interesting that they chose the operative as part of this image because it says War of Immortals here, so and it's a collage. So this image was intentionally created
I mean, what's more immortal than Starfinder? Maybe that's how Serenray will die. She's like being the sun and all, and then a dude from Starfinder comes around and no scopes the sun.
Operative shoots Saren, right?
That's what he was miming. He was miming the sun getting shot.
Ah, yeah.
He's laying it down. He's foreshadowing.
I can't wait for them to say that they actually killed Norgriber, and then everybody in our Kingmaker campaign just like giving us condolences, and we're just gonna have to go, yeah, it's a really sad time, Shifty Eyes.
Are y'all like at odds with him or something?
No. We just chose him as the fake god we worship so we don't have to take off our mask.
I see.
For religious reasons.
Razmarin, yeah, he's not even a real god, so yeah, you guys are fine.
The sun is very far away, and it'd be funnier. But also, that's why you're doing a no-scope.
Because we're gonna need to no-scope the sun. Well, yeah, see, here's the
that's
thing,
why you're
though.
No-scoping.
Space is really big. And a variance of a fraction of a degree can create miles of you know, like inaccuracy.
And it's the full on like Modern Warfare like 360 no scope. But it's like the Modern Warfare 2 where you have to jump off a ladder and do it because like frame data or however it works.
Yeah, what server is the sun on? So overseas? I don't know.
Yeah, there's gonna be like frame delay. That's gonna cause some problems.
Still work well if you use free archetype. I don't know how Mythic is gonna work, to be honest.
That'll be the concern. I mean, at least in our experience, free archetype doesn't feel like it breaks anything.
You need a shaded scope so you don't blind yourself. True. Like, so here's the thing. It was something that was in first edition that was essentially just extra level up stuff for extra power. But Pathfinder is so meticulously designed, I don't know how that fits into their algorithm. If I was to say anything, I mean, it might be like a power gamer's dream where Mythic will essentially actually give power boosts by giving you like boosts to stats or whatever.
That's possible. Also, I have to mention this because I just opened Twitter to see if they were talking about the stream being messed up. And I would like to mention what their stream announcement was about 40 minutes ago, where they said 30 minutes. We will also be talking about all the tie-in products and maybe one or two previously unannounced things.
Oh, so exciting.
This is a big stream.
Wrap up Tailblade, let's go.
Yeah, that's what they mean.
Also, welcome, dear, as one of our other players.
Hello. Apologies for being late.
Nah, you're fine. If anything, you're early by Paizo's time right now.
We saw a man try to speak for a while, and he wasn't working.
Mimed for a little bit, and then went back to the starting screen.
Ah, okay.
Man, like I can see I don't know. My only experience with mythic levels was messing around with it in Wrath of the Righteous. So like I don't know how much it would operate with. And like I don't know how much it was implemented in first edition. Was it like an optional variant rule thing, or was it just base game kind of thing?
It was an optional variant. Yeah, I just don't know because their whole get rid of this stupid icon. their whole balancing thing, like Phoenix just said that like it's playing on a very different level, so it's not even trying to be balanced with the normal content. And while I see that, it's also the core of their game design, how all these algorithms and how they're given to players work. So I don't think Mythic is going to necessarily completely bust that, but I do think like there's a possibility it will definitely make your characters stronger. Like I do think that's the intent. I just don't know to what degree and like how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, and apparently like the game version is just very different then, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's because in normal Pathfinder it was just like more generic. Like there's like I think like Archmage or something or whatever. And Wrath of the Righteous, the game version, is you were actually on the path of a god, but Mythic was more like you're a hero of legend, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the yeah. I don't know how that would fit into Pathfinder Second Edition then, like, because I could see it being like a variant rule, like you mentioned a power. Oh, I hear someone speaking.
Yeah, they're talking in the background. They've been doing it for a bit now.
I hear them speaking. Also, I want to mention.
I turn the volume up, but not deafen the audience.
There is actually channel predictions going live on their Twitch. The current runner-up is the heavy lead is Gorham.
The heavy lead is Gorham, huh?
Gorham with 29%, followed by Imade with 19%.
I don't think it's gonna be Amadea. Oh, we have a person on screen.
So. Oh,
way less. They broke everything in their scene for this. All their power has gone to this. I see.
Do not die easily, nor do they perish cleanly. The death of a deity shakes the firmaments of existence, and all the worlds of spirits and mortals tremble in the wake of such catastrophic events. Hello, I am John Morgantini. Thank you very much for holding in for us while we dealt with some technical issues on the side. I am Paizo's community manager and your host for today's exciting War of Immortals kickoff stream. What is the War of Immortals, you might be asking yourself? Well, it's what its name implies, a war between immortals precipitated by the God's Reign, a cataclysm of mythic proportions in which one of Pathfinder's core 20 deities will die, and their blood and divine power will literally rain down upon the mortals below, bestowing upon them mythic power and a fraction of that god's now stolen immortality. The War of Immortals event will span months of product releases beginning in July and change the setting forever. Ripples from this event will still be seen for years to come, and we're already planning further storylines that build directly on the prolonged period of conflict that follows the God's Reign, which we and the people of Galarian will refer to as the War of Immortals. Be sure to stick around until the end of the stream for a very exciting announcement related to the long-term effects. But before we get into those effects, let's have a look at the immediate effects. At the center of the War of Immortals meta event is the aptly named hardcover release, War of Immortals, which arrives in October. To talk more about this exciting release and the content players can hope to find within, I'm joined by Paizo's managing designer, Michael Sayer.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, it's Michael.
Welcome to the War of Immortals. As some of you may have noticed, the God of Sound was the first victim of this event. But fortunately, we're not going to dwell on that too much longer. In this book, we're going to explore all kinds of cool things that are related to this precipitating event. You see what I did there? Because it's the God's Reign. And provide y'all with a whole deluge, I'm still doing it, of new character options for players who want to imbue their campaigns with mythic power and cool divine options. And cool divine options start with cool new classes like Nahoa, our iconic and the mythic the iconic exemplar. He's not mythic yet in this particular piece of art, though you'll get to see what he might look like as he continues on his journey through the book, The War of Immortals.
At the bottom, those are all our Google Forms missions.
This hardcover that explores the journey of Nahoa and the iconic animist Samo, who I think should be appearing in front of you right about now since I said the keyword, as they travel from the lands of the Linorm kings all across the continent of Avestan and down into Garund, following a calling that is leading them into battle against a new spawn of Rovagug rampaging across the world. New spawn of Rovagug. Yeah,
New
that's right.
spawn of
We got
Rogaga.
all
Okay.
kinds of monsters and things to throw at you.
Uh-oh.
And we've got the vicious monster Varix that was, who you'll see in this art piece.
Ooh.
Ooh, look at that thing.
That's super
Dwarves,
cool.
dwarves, dwarves, dwarves.
Uh-oh. That's not proof for you.
Has come up. Yeah. Varix the Despoiler used to be an orc god. Then he delved a little too deep, spent too much time close to Rovagug's imprisonment, and as he crawled away, despoiled himself, and was exposed to the God's Reign, he turned into this horrific monstrosity that is a major creature, kind of leading into a lot of the events and causing some of the changes that you're going to see in this world.
They're just killing their old buddy.
But Varix isn't the only god who dies. Of course he isn't, you say. This is what we tuned in to see. Yet, because you see, several deities are going to die in the course of these events, including one of my personal favorites, who I was incredibly sad to murder, Starovan and the Dragon Eagle. See, when the God's Reign happens, there are bits and pieces of Redacted that fall in various places, and one of those places is the World Wound. So the Dragon Eagle
Turn the Paizo
flies
stream up a
in and
little.
snatches up one of these Redacted.
Several gods are going to die.
Well,
Used by the
yeah,
demons
several
gathered
like
around the
lesser
world
known
to reopen it, and
deities,
explodes in a giant
Ooh,
prism
boy.
of rainbows that
but not
everybody
only
in
one of
the
the
Star
core
Forest
ones.
sees.
Yeah.
And you're going to find more and more events like that, and you're going to participate in a ton of events like that in the adventures that we have coming up. And all of these adventures and stories that you're going to tell, they are going to be enabled by all kinds of mechanics and new tools that we bring into play here, which you're going to see in this book with this amazing cover for the War of Immortals.
Ooh.
What's that you're hopefully
Look
saying
at that.
right now? That is Cesuriel, the Apocalypse Rider of War, on her badass steed, doing what the Apocalypse Rider of War does best, and getting involved in a war. This
New Four Horsemen art.
We got four horsemen in this setting. Hell yeah.
They already had it, yeah.
I didn't know
this is
that.
new.
Getting directly involved in things on Galarian in a way that they
Ram on
haven't
Pushtaka said,
for a while.
"Oh no, the
Since another
daemons are
dead
getting
deity
involved."
used to be
I
kicking
can't
around
wait.
on the surface of the world and doing his thing. That's all I've got for you at the moment. I will be back to talk a little bit more about some of the other surprises we've got coming your way, but for now I'm going to go ahead and toss it to John so that John can introduce
I like
you
the
to our
pure
next
look at that.
This is where we find out
Thanks,
that anybody
Mike.
who wasn't marked
The
safe
fallout from
is dead.
God's Reign and the events of the War of Immortals aren't going to be constrained to just the hardcover, however. And a number of our published adventures are also going to explore the after effects of this event and how it affects the setting. To talk more about the first couple of them, because yes, there's more than a couple, I'm pleased to welcome Pathfinder Narrative Creative Director James Jacobs.
No, not more audio problems. I think
He's
he's just
intentionally
like,
muted.
There's a mute
yeah.
button.
There he is. He's good.
Oh boy.
Oh, he has
John,
mic
thanks, for the
exclusion.
introduction. Sorry about that. Hey,
Interesting.
everybody. We do have a lot of adventures coming up. And it's pretty exciting. We haven't been able to talk about these yet, really. But yeah, the first of the adventures that we're going to be releasing is in July. It's our first hardcover standalone module, Pray for Death. Starting with this volume, in fact, all of our standalone adventures are going to be hardcovers and at least 128 pages. So we're going to be able to do longer adventures that have more of a chance to tell their stories or investigate things. Sort of like, I guess, what we did with the remaster of Crown of the Kobold King. So I guess technically this isn't our first hardcover. It's our first brand new hardcover module. Anyway, so Pray for Death. This is the adventure where the player characters play Red Mantis assassins, and so you're going to be playing
Ooh, that'll be fun.
assassins sent out into the world to assassinate somebody important, and I'm not going to do too many spoilers. You'll figure this out pretty soon. It's a pretty high level adventure path or adventure, a standalone adventure. You will end up at about 17th level at the end of it, and you'll want to check this one out for sure. I'm not saying exactly why this is part of the War of the Immortals storyline, but rest assured, it very much is.
He assassinating a
And
god?
so we've got a Chayek, of course,
That would be
is
kinda
Or
cool.
or
big
followers of the
deals for the
god,
Red
maybe.
Mantis assassins,
I
and
mean, either way.
he's not
That
the
sounds
god
hype.
we're killing off. He's not one of the core deities anyway. So, anyway, so Pray for Death will be out pretty soon. That'll be the kind of the kickoff for this whole storyline that we're going to be doing. And then after that, we're going to be transitioning over to the adventure path line. I've seen a lot of people assuming that we're going to be doing just one adventure path for the War of Immortals. It's a bigger storyline than that. It's just like back in the old days when we did Rise of the Rune Lords. Then we went on and did Shattered Star and Return of the Rune Lords and other stuff. And this is an event that is going to shake the world so fundamentally and change everything in a way that is so significant that we're going to continue doing more and more stories about the War of Immortals and the fallout of what's going on. And the first one of those that is going to impact this is the Curtain Call Adventure Path. This one launches in July. First volume is called Stage Fright. And this adventure path starts out before all of that stuff is going on. And the plot line here is sort of a little bit more whimsical than we normally do for adventures. You'll see my background here is actually some art from one of the second volume where you've got Flumbus here offering some dinosaur diplomacy up to a curious Spinosaurus. But Curtain Call is the adventure path where your character is put on an opera based on the adventure you went on when you were first to 10th level. And so there's a lot of diplomacy and stuff going on. It's a 3-part adventure path that debuts at Gen Con and wraps up in September. And it kind of builds up toward what we're going along with the War of Immortals and God's Reign. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything.
I don't
for
see
you,
anything.
But,
I don't know what that
not
creature is in the
only
middle
does,
one though.
Redacted
Skin
have
saw
what is
cult.
going to happen to that redacted individual during
Huh.
this adventure. Other gods are going to be involved in this whole thing in ways, because this is a big deal. It's going to affect deities.
That's cool
in all
Nurgle
sorts of
art.
different ways.
Yeah, I was just
And
thinking
your
That's-
that.
high-level player
that's so
characters are going
sick.
to be on screen interacting with a lot of these deities in ways that are going to be pretty fun. Anyway, so that's Curtain Call. It's also not the only adventure path that we're doing for this. Like I said before, we're also starting an adventure in October, an adventure path called Triumph of the Tusk. This is a lower level adventure path, goes from, I believe, 3rd to 11th level. This adventure path is we're just brand new announcing it right here. This is an adventure path where the player characters are in the hold of Belchton, and they're dealing with a lot of the fallout and situations that arise from the shakeup that we were talking about earlier with some of the orc deities dying and everything kind of changing around. So that's going to be
Orc deities are
fun
dying.
adventure to check out, that really delves into the aftermath of God's Reign and all of that event. That will be the adventure paths pretty much. Going forward, one thing that I do want to mention also is these first 2 adventure paths, Curtain Call and Triumph of the Tusk, are really focusing on the narrative elements of War of Immortals, the death of the god and all of the stuff going on. They're not specifically built to be for mythic characters. We are going to get around to doing mythic adventures at some point. I'm excited to do that sort of thing. But like I said before, this is not something we're just going to do once and then move on. These are going to be themes that we're going to be continuing exploring throughout the
Okay,
next.
so there
phase
will
of the
eventually be
event. So
mythic.
to find out more, you're just going to have to stay tuned and find out more. So I guess that's pretty much all I've got to tease about the adventures that we're going to be doing for the rest of the year. Back to you, John.
Thanks, James. I cannot wait to play those or throw them at my players.
I was
or
concerned that his audio
combination
wasn't
of
working for a
both.
second.
I was
Same.
hoping it was
Now,
going to be a long
this
bit where
next
everybody starts
tease
muted.
isn't new. It's closer to returning. It's a product that we will give Pathfinder fans yet another way to experience the storyline for War of Immortals. To chat about fiction, I'm joined by our director of brand strategy,
Oh.
Mark Moreland.
Mark Moreland.
He's muted too.
Oh my god.
Mark.
Every one of them.
I thought he was
We are
drenched
being
in
cursed
sweat,
by
but
the
it's
god
just
of
the
sound,
shadow
which
of his
we really
mic.
need to invent at this point.
He's wearing a very
because
unfortunate shirt for his
clearly
lighting.
we're getting assigned.
I know,
three
yeah,
gods,
looks like
that's
he's
a
just
thing
sweaty.
that we got to worry about. Anyway, so longtime Pathfinder fans likely remember the Pathfinder Tales line of novels that we published between 2010 and 2017. In over 36 novels, Pathfinder Tales presented adventurers and anti-heroes of the author's creation, fighting evil or skirting the line themselves. And from this rogues gallery emerged a number of fan favorites who returned for a series of adventures. Varian Jagari and his loyal bodyguard Radovan, Torius Vin and the crew of the pirate ship Stargazer, the charlatan Roderick and his intelligent sword Hrim, the former Nidalee Shadowcaller ICM, and more.
Oh, you're just talking about novels
What
early.
these books allowed us
True.
to do for the first time was to tell stories set in the Age of Lost Omens that had protagonists. And through these characters, explore the setting with a sense of excitement an RPG rulebook just can't provide. Now, I'm overjoyed to announce the return of Pathfinder novels in the form of God's Reign by Leanne Merciel that will release this November.
Yeah, I think
Now,
that was
unlike prior
already
Pathfinder
revealed.
novels, God's Reign will be a hardcover release for the optimal sensory experience of reading. And it will feature a few familiar faces among its core adventuring party. The Pathfinder
Ooh.
iconics, Amiri, Ezrin, Kyra,
That's
and
cool.
Merciel. Over
I
the
think that's
course
that
of
same
God's
creature we
Reign,
saw earlier
these beloved
too.
Pathfinder characters will
Yeah, that's
witness
that
the God's Reign,
dwarf that
and
dug
at least
too
one
deep.
of them will gain mythic
Spawn
power
of
Very
Rovagug.
doing in close
in a
combat.
race against powerful rivals set on releasing an existential threat upon the world. Kyra and friends will have to use every tool at their disposal, including first-hand blessings from one of the surviving core deities, to prevent an event, an even greater disaster than the mere death of a god or a few gods. In anticipation of God's Reign's release, we'll be publishing 2 electronic books as
Turn it up a
preorders
little bit
in
more.
September and October.
But
The
we're not
first of
here
these
to
is,
steal Paizo's
one many
stream.
viewers of this stream will likely already be familiar with,
Oops.
The God's Reign Prophecies by Aaron Roberts. While the bulk of this content is available now on the Paizo blog, the ebook will include exclusive new content to further the mystery of the prophecies and explore the enigmatic
If
seer
you want, you
keeping
can
the
always
secret.
go and check it out
In October,
on
we'll
their
release
stream.
Before the God's Reign,
No, there will
a
be a
collection
delay
of
if
short
they do
stories
that.
and flash fiction featuring the 4 iconic characters at the novel's heart. Readers who are unfamiliar with the iconics or the Pathfinder setting can pick up this ebook to get to know Amiri, Ezrin, Kyra, and Merciel through reprinted and new material designed to bring them up to speed on these beloved characters.
Is that better?
Ooh, look at the full art.
That's all that I've
Oh,
got.
look at the
So
dudes
I'll
on the
toss it
left
back to
hand
you,
side.
John, and
Oh my
we'll see
god,
what
those
else
guys
is
are
next. I
awesome.
think that's all that everyone came here to learn, right? We're good now that we have that announcement. People are good to go.
Can't believe this. John.
Nah, come on, John. We had this joke from you already.
I swear, this is a sign from the universe. I don't know what it is, but yeah, that's probably everything
You're
that
doing them
everyone's
a
here for.
favor
So
by
I was just
sniping
gonna
their
head
stream.
down to the local
I think
supermarket and
so.
grab a
I think
sandwich.
the more eyes we can get on it, the better.
But actually, seriously, before you bring out the pitchforks, there's a lot that's going to be shaking up the status quo in the Lost Omen setting. To give us the down low on what's going to be happening, let's bring on Pathfinder Rules and Lore Creative Director Luis Loza.
Ooh, all right. Here's the big man.
Here he is.
Hello, everybody. Guess who's not
Look at
muted
all the
this
Ravens.
time around.
Good background.
Everyone
cool.
else seemed to like really pick up the pace. I know we had tech issues, and it seems like we are kind of caught up. So that means I can take my time now, right? I can slow down.
Who is her?
No one's really waiting on anything. We'd have a nice,
What?
chill little time.
Well, to
No,
do it for
actually,
her
No, let's
thing.
talk about something you probably already know about.
Oh,
let's go to
do
our
it
first
for
topic,
her,
which is
yeah.
the cover
Yeah,
for
the
a nice
Simpsons
little book
thing.
called Lost Omens: Divine Mysteries. With all this talk about God's
there they are.
dying and things
Oh,
Raven.
new book, Divine
some
Mysteries.
Of you are jumping in for the first time with the Lost Omen setting and learning who these gods are, only to see maybe some of them die immediately after. So we figured we'd put a book together to collect as much information about the gods as we could, and present all of that to you and show you, who these gods are, what they're all about, their stats. If you're a cleric, maybe give you some cool options for worshiping them and all that.
Oh,
But also there's the opportunity to really learn more about the setting. So we sent out one of our most important figures. If we want to go to our next slide, a little
It's
sister by
Rasma.
the name of Yavali.
Oh, that's cool.
And she's been tasked with doing all this work, collecting all of this here for us. And
He got really quiet, but that's
creating a
not
book,
me.
of
I think he's leaning
figuring
from
out who
away
these
from
gods
his
are,
mic.
learning about all of these things. She's been tasked by Pharasma to learn what she can as she's doing kind of her, we'll call it like her grad school thesis, to graduate to become a full-on psychopomp that then helps people out in the afterlife. And she's learned a lot of things. Not only is she learning who gods are, she's learned, who someone like Asmodeus is, or who someone like Desna is. Two gods who are already safe, so don't even look into that. But she's also learned some additional secrets. If we go into our next slide, she's trying to figure out just how gods work.
Oh, hey,
and
that's
maybe
so
learning some
that
of these
is
secrets
The
help
Starstone, right?
the
gods.
Starstone, and that's
yeah.
What
Amadeus.
causes
Oh.
a god to happen?
Oh,
How
that's
does
a
a
cool
mortal
effect.
become a
That's
god?
so
What we're
dope.
seeing here on the screen, probably one of the most notable instances of this happening. This is Iomade touching the Starstone, and while we're not going to tell
Iomade,
you
okay.
exactly what happens when you touch the Starstone,
I like
we'll
Iomade
start
better,
hinting
but
at it. We can
Iomade.
start peeking just a
Yeah,
little bit
because
behind the curtain
Amadeus
to
fits
understand
into
how gods work. There's a lot of in-world essays written by Yavali that kind of explain what she's figured out as best as she understands how a god works. And from
Oh,
there,
they
of course,
mentioned
she's
at the
also
bottom.
gone
I
on
just
and
missed
met
it.
lots
The
of different
Zon
gods. If we go to our
Shaylin
next slide, we can
thing.
see that she actually
Those are all the
probably against
those are all the
standards and
Google
regulations
form
with Resnick Court, has
responses.
been interacting with some
Oh,
of these gods.
That's from
With
the
someone like
Twitter
Calvira
thing they put out.
here, and some of the other gods
These are all fan
along the world.
submissions.
And
That's
is
why
getting
you'll
a
also
chance to
see
really understand who
Gorum
these
fights
gods are,
Gorum
and we're
passing by.
hoping that through her
I
work,
sub-
Gorum wins.
you'll be able to
I haven't
read this
noticed
book
mine,
and
which is
also understand
Sarenrae, because it
who
would
the
be
gods
funny,
are.
lol.
But along the way, she's also met a lot of new faces. This next slide gives us just a couple of the new faces that Yavali has met along the way. We
ooh.
have new gods like Aleph, who is a god of darkness, but more benevolent than you're kind of used to seeing with darkness. There's also, on the opposite side, Nin, one of our new vampire gods, who
Vampire god.
is
Vampire
into a lot of
god.
strange things with vampires, like figuring out how to remove their weaknesses. Like eventually, with enough time, Nin's followers can figure out how to walk out in the sun. We
Oh,
also have newer gods that have ascended, like Maja Firehair, who is up there among the ranks of the Orc pantheon to offer guidance and support through her own means. And then
So
we also have
new
some
orc
really
god.
interesting gods like Ziar Tovan, who is living weapon, who is a god.
living
all
weapon
about
god.
Ooh,
weapons in battle and stuff like
sentient
that.
weapon
It's
god.
just kind of
Okay.
more.
That's
I'd like
hype.
to see some
Also,
real
I
interesting
am
gods
glad to
out
see them
there,
adding more,
in canon
dark
games here.
skinned
So
gods to
lots of cool gods
the
that Yavali gets to meet, lots
Same.
of cool gods that
roster.
she gets to introduce you to,
Oh yeah.
and lots of cool things you get to learn along the way. But of course, I mentioned earlier,
I love Sword
there's
God.
character options.
I
And
want to
I do
worship
like
the
Sword
Sword
God.
God.
this slide has a little hint as to what might be coming
Oh,
in this book here. We have
Oh,
3 different character options being showcased.
Ooh,
here.
there's a
One is a
detective.
Battle Harbinger, which is a new class archetype for clerics. The Battle
oh,
Harbinger
Balhar.
is,
Okay,
all about battle, and you lose a little bit of spellcasting capability.
so
but
that's a
it's really
class
cool,
archetype.
capability in battle. We have a new archetype, the Rivathun Emissary, who's all about contacting spirits,
Archetype.
ancestors, things like that, and tapping into divine powers.
Like
He
they're
means
familiar.
not just through that of a god. And we also have the Palatine Detective, who works with the Esoteric Order of the Palatine Eye. And interesting things have been afoot with the Esoteric Order. And as of late, they have access to divine power in really strange and unique ways that we'll talk about more in the future. But that is another class archetype for the Investigator, who gets access
clipping
to
that.
spellcasting through own
So
new
that's a
and
class.
mysterious ways. And I think that's all the slides I have for
So
today.
that's
We
a
also
class
have, of course, other
archetype.
stuff happening in the Lost Omens line. You might have just seen Tiansha World Guide. Tiansha Character Guide will be coming out in a couple of months after that. And Divine Mysteries will be coming out later this year, around November, and we can then from there go on and explore and see what happens to the rest of the setting with things like that. But that is the big thing. We're talking all about gods. Let's give you another god book.
And
that is
that's coming in
official.
November.
I think
Okay.
that's all I have to talk about for today. So I'm gonna send it back to John. There might be one or two other things you want to mention before we go.
I don't know. I feel like we've had such a full and complete stream by this point. I can't imagine what anybody else would want to talk about. That's all the products that we have to discuss for today's stream. But there's going to be a lot more fallout from God's Reign and War of the Immortals. We have many more things to talk about in the future as they progress. But you know, there's another exciting announcement that I'm really glad to finally get out in the open. And I think, Mike, you might have something that you want to say to the people.
Mike Sayers?
Yeah, I certainly
Ooh.
do. So we've talked
Ooh.
about the God's Reign and the War of Immortals, but what is the natural fallout of immortals fighting, right? Well, when gods start fighting each other, their followers also have a tendency to start fighting, and people all over the world tend to get sucked into encounters like this. So we are going to be playtesting 2 new classes coming to the game in 2025,
Oh,
and we're going to start
Ooh.
playtesting them on Monday, April 29th.
Commander
in just
and
under 2
Guardian.
months. What are they?
Hmm.
They are the intelligent and clever commander and the beefy and heavily armored guardian. You are going to get a chance to
But
check
I
out
already made a
these new
intelligent
entries
spider.
on the front lines of battle in the
You're
very
gonna get a
near
better
future.
one, I guess.
So, you know, that I think is maybe everything, right? We told them that this was the most exciting thing we had to talk about. I can't think of anything else.
Okay, 2 new classes.
Well, sounds about right. Yeah.
The amount of people losing
There was
everything in the
one
chat.
thing. We did a poll, and I'm pretty
Oh,
sure that we
Right.
have a piece of art for the poll if we wanted to bring
Oh,
up
yeah, the
that
poll.
wonderful pie chart
Ooh.
for data nerds.
Ooh.
Lamash too.
So as you can
I'm surprised Torag's not one of the
you're not
smallest
looking at
ones.
me right now.
It
This
is,
is
I
the
guess it
results
is.
of
It's
a
the second
poll.
smallest.
25%. 25% of you think that for some reason Lamash 2 is in danger.
For some reason.
For some reason.
I was actually very proud. We had over 4,000 responses. Thank you very much. I am putting those numbers very tucked away very safely. As your community engagement specialist, it was a pleasure to see all of you voting and caring so much about what terrible thing might befall a specific deity, whether it's a banana on the top of the stairs, or it's getting out of bed wrong and tweaking their back. You know, these things happen. You get rolled. What?
That's what got Eric.
Oh, that's what got Aaron. It was the bananas. I'm curious now if anyone's opinions have changed. So let's pump your opinions into chat for a second, because this is what they call vamping, kids. I am delaying things intentionally to be a little bit of a jerk. So
I just realized my
Also,
clips might
if
be a
you
little
give
off
me
because of the
any of
stream
the gods'
delay.
names in chat, I have a counter that will tell you how many times you've said it. But you do have to spell them correctly.
Amazing technology.
is there anything that anyone else? This is your last chance, because you know we're going to be wrapping up the stream here in a second.
Yeah, I talked about setting stuff, and we were rushed earlier, but now there's a second. War of Immortals features a setting chapter, doesn't it, Mike?
It does, yeah.
Setting
And I hear it was
chapter.
written by a few really cool people. Michelle Y. Kim, who was recently hired as an adventure developer here at Paizo. This guy, Luis Loza, who I've known for a while, pretty talented creative director. I think, what was that guy's name?
We're gonna try to get Luis
Eric
on
Mona.
next
I think
month
he
for
even
Table
wrote
Talk.
some of that setting chapter
Nice.
as well.
I want to talk to him.
Yeah, so if you want to learn a little bit about the ramifications to the setting, you can look forward to that in War of Immortals as well. But yeah, I think that covers everything I wanted to say.
Oh, have I done enough vamping? Are these? I mean, I feel like chat's literally about to vibrate through the internet and strangle me.
I think
So
For your own safety, I think
Yes.
you need
Yes.
to get it off.
Yeah.
Don't perceive me on the internet. All right.
spammed
If you're all
Samurai a few
ready,
times.
oh, here we go. Giving a drum roll, and the answer is
it's live.
Oh,
It's Gorum! Oh!
Gorum will be the one dying.
That was my second pick.
Hey, what's that? What's
That
that
was a
guy
lot of
coming
people's
out his
second pick
chest?
too,
What the
yeah.
heck is that?
yeah.
I don't know. I guess people have to wait and
Mm.
find out, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
It
He
doesn't
needs
look like
he needs
something you
a
walk
wider
off.
tie to cover things up.
I hope he
Oh
prepared
no, does
mending
battle
this
become
morning.
less exciting now?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Well, all
right.
the
It is
Samurai
Gorum,
stands
our
can
Lord and Iron
relax
himself.
for the
Now,
first time in
Damn.
like
now
6
that we've gotten that out
months.
of our system,
The
No.
fallout,
the
the
hows, the
fallout
whys,
as we
the
go,
whens,
we go
all of
to
this
5th edition
is yet to come.
D&D
We're not
combat.
that nice. But
No.
know that it's going to be on screen at your tables and not just around the imaginary digital conference tables that we have here at Paizo being fully remote. How does Gorum's death impact your player characters? How is Amiri gonna cope? Probably with punching something. What about the orcs of Belkzen? And what will the god's reign of his blood, divine essence, and shards of armor leave in their wake upon Galarian? You're just gonna have to keep playing and to find out. Thank you very much for joining us on this stream and through the technical difficulties. The hype has been amazing to watch. You all have been super into this whole thing at your tables, reading through the God's Reign prophecies and all of your theory crafting and postulating. It's going to be on screen. We wouldn't be able to do any of this if you weren't so invested and so excited. Some members of our community have set up a God's Reign post-game stream on the We're Stronger Together channel. So we're going to be rating them in just a second. So if you want to geek out about the news, continue to speculate, stick around.
Sorry, Cam. For Plague
talk
Watch,
here in chat, talk on the
test
Discords,
Commander.
talk in the forums.
Yeah,
And
right.
we will all
Unfortunately,
with you,
they
having
won't be out by
so
the
much
time Plague
fun.
Watch would
On behalf
start.
of Mike, James,
No.
Mark, and Luis, and the rest of Paizo,
Oh, is it
I've
next year?
been
I thought
John
they said
Morgantini, your
429.
community and social media manager.
That's
Have a good one.
when they're being play tested.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Man, can't wait to see how this is gonna unravel with him dead.
I know.
That's interesting, but also I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest. I mean, on one hand, Gorum dying is actually pretty big. I think it's rather impactful. Gorum, like a lot of people like Gorum and the god of fighting and wars and everything like that, and the fact that one of the characters is essentially like one of the iconics are kind of tied to Gorum is interesting. But I don't know. I feel kind of not let down, but it just wasn't as exciting as I was hoping for.
Which answer would have been more exciting?
You know, honestly, Lamash too, even though I don't think they would have. Lamash 2 would have been a lot more interesting. IMO.
There we go.
Because
Turn
the
this
bit,
down.
Volume. Okay.
the one bit where I immediately was
We
like
are now live
understanding
over
of
here.
like,
Oh, here comes
okay,
the
I really
raiders.
like this idea. I understand. I think what
Paizo
they're
for
doing with
joining
it.
us.
Where they
yes,
said
I'm
like the
done.
shards of like his armor
Yeah,
and
are
like
we doing
weapons is
better
the stuff
than
that's like people are now
with the
fighting
God sound?
over. It's
That's
like that.
kinda cool.
Okay, I get it. Like
I'm just seeing
now
how
it's
many people,
the
I'm like, oh god.
like because he's just a big old
I am
suit
friends with
armor,
exactly
and
enough
so
people
now it's
Right.
like
to
you're
have good
fighting for
favor with the God
literal
sound.
shards of like a
I
deity,
keep That's on good, bringing
and
good.
like you're holding like a fragment
Yeah.
of
how.
him. Because if it was just a
Yeah,
fucking
Gorum's
man
dying.
or
Yeah.
a woman, and you were just holding,
Gorum
or like,
dead.
or let's say like even Lamash
Yeah,
2
God of
or Rorvagug, just like
Yeah,
a
in
weird like
hindsight-
this is just a
in
creature, and you're just holding like a
calling it
fleshy
War of
bit.
Immortals, I feel like we should
That'd be a
have seen
little
that
more
coming, you
uncomfortable.
know?
Like
It's
I
right in the
got
title.
their
There's gonna be a
arm,
war.
and then this
Yeah,
one
but
is like
you
I
can
got the
kill
pauldron of
deities
Gorum,
and
and now that's like a
That's
really
fair.
scary like
gonna be
barbarian.
But that's fair.
Like that'd be a
are we getting carried away here
interesting
with our own
set of
excitement? Should
stuff.
we do quick introductions
It's
and get back to the more interesting
like
stuff?
a good
Oh,
point.
yeah,
Wait,
true.
it's stuff that other stories have done when like wielding the
We're just
armaments of a
excited as
god.
the rest of you.
We're all getting
Yeah.
off this. Sorry.
That's very cool.
Gorum on the screen.
I do think,
I can
yeah.
see. I can see
The
sports.
So there
new
we go.
potential
Pathfinder
relics
fan.
being based on
There's our
like
stream buddy.
Gorham's
Oh my god, everyone
gear
came in so fast.
or
Sorry, chat.
fragments.
Oh, I'm so
Especially
sorry,
because like
chat.
I'm sure he's just gonna be larger than life, and like
We're
a fragment
overwhelmed,
from
Jack.
Gorham is gonna be
Yeah.
massive.
We'll be
Oh, 100%. Like,
fine.
it's the...
But this is awesome.
Now that I'm like
It's
thinking
awesome.
about it, it's one of those
Everyone.
things where the moment you
I
hear
love
the
somebody
idea,
who's
you're
come
like,
forward to
oh,
get it, that the war
I can
wasn't
see
caused
a
by his
lot
death.
of ways
That's
this can
exactly
play
what I
out,
wanted.
like mechanically,
You know he would.
and like give
Nothing
your
massive
player
else for a
so
God of
many
War's sake,
methods
you know,
of this
dying
in game.
and not
I can see how this can work. I can see a lot of
Yeah,
like
no, that was nuts.
methods
Like,
of,
I
especially
like,
if they're gonna add
it'd be
mythic
funny.
shit.
I'm just glad that
I
we
can
are
see how
actually
this can
cool.
play
I'm
out.
just glad that Olak finally gets to be the Battle Harbinger class archetype they mentioned, because Olak, the War Priest iconic from PF1, well, we should do introductions, then I'll mention why I've been excited for Olak to show up.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's a
turn
good
the
idea.
volume down. It was mostly just supposed to
So-
be background sound anyway for us.
Yeah, I don't know what I turned it.
All right.
I went away
My
from
name
their
is
stream. Is
Oliver
it this
Kaiser,
just?
also known as like Lonesome Chunk 44.
I think it's just another
I'm a
stream
game
of them
writer for,
just
like, Pathfinder
chatting.
and an internet
Yeah.
magazine.
You know what? Actually, I think I'll do the
Podcasts and
same.
stuff. You know, that's all I really need to know.
I think
All
it's
this.
yeah, they went to a different channel. Like they're rating a channel.
Yeah, it's
haven't-
third
yeah, that's
party
about it. That's all I
content
need to know.
creators.
But not us. Sad.
I mean, we're tiny.
I didn't really opt in for the amongst Pathfinder streamers or content creators. I guess we're still on the smaller side, but like not by much. But
On YouTube, we're bigger. On Twitch, we're
I don't
still
know. Maybe again.
I see bigger numbers on YouTube more consistently, at least when I see it on Table Talk and stuff.
It's pretty even a lot of the time, but that's fair. Yeah. So, I wonder if there's a Discord like plugin I can do, because I've seen this plugin before on other stream setups, where you can have like the Discord faces on the side. I just don't know what it would be called. But yeah, so I don't know. Other than that, like I'm sad it wasn't Torag because I want crazier stuff to happen with the dwarves. I feel like dwarves are super like put into the dwarf niche that's always been around. But I guess it wouldn't make sense since they just released like a whole culture book for them with High Helm to remove like a very core aspect of their culture, which is praising of Torag.
And yeah, and I mean, the dwarves can fight a pretty prominent member of their society turning into a big scary monster.
Also, dwarves just are not very popular, unfortunately.
That's
Dwarves are
not true
cool.
at all.
Dwarves
Dwarves are
very cool.
incredibly popular.
They're one of the least picked races.
Are they?
Ooh. By what metric? They're one of the most picked races in most things. You know how many scruffy old men love playing dwarves? You know how big that a part of that is of the tabletop community? I don't know. Maybe I can look up a widget. But in the meantime, I guess I'm pop Alex's stupid little face on screen again.
Stupid. Rude.
Stupid affectionate.
Might just be thinking of Baldur's Gate 3. All the short races were the least picked ones.
Oh yeah, that's true. In Baldur's Gate 3 they posted the metrics, because my knowledge they haven't picked anything. They haven't posted anything because I don't know how they would. The only method I could see them doing anything like that is if Path Builder for some reason. posted.
Yeah, for Pathfinder, because I know D&D Beyond had a thing.
Yeah, D&D Beyond stats.
Yeah, we have the intelligent commander. It was the commander, and it was what was the other one?
It was the commander and it wasn't Bastion. It was
Guardian, I think
Guardian.
it was.
Guardian.
I didn't write that down. I'm very dumb. Guardian.
Let's see. I'm double
Which is
checking.
very interesting because those are two obviously very martial classes. I'm very curious to see the commander.
I think it's all actually kind of nice in a way if it's going the way that I think we've talked about, where we've expressed this on Table Talk, where Paizo has been releasing a lot of really complicated classes. And so if these classes are a bit more new player friendly, as in like there's a lot of very cool classes in Pathfinder that can do a lot of very cool things, but are for players who are just trying to get into this game, and then you're like, yeah, I know, like you looked into it, and Oracle seems cool, but hey, you should probably put that down. Not for your first. Just give
Yeah,
it
I
a
don't
little bit of
know.
time.
There are a lot of pretty beginner friendly classes.
There are, but there also are some very complicated ones. And so it's something I
For
remember
sure.
we mentioned that like every single class that gets released is feeling like they're just getting a lot more complicated as time goes on.
I'm
Because
gonna
it's
agree
just
with Dev
how it
Phoenix
goes.
here. The new players can use Player Core 1.
They can, like 100%. It makes sense that like what they're doing is it's going to get more and more like designed and complicated, but if it seems like what they're going to do is just kind of not release something as crazy as say like what the animist is going to be, then like fair
Well,
enough.
but like in contrast to that, the exemplar is actually not that difficult of a
No,
class.
Exemplar is pretty chill.
So I don't know. It's definitely. I'm very curious. I'm also very curious what the Guardian's purpose is, because that sounds like exactly what a champion is. At least the good, quote unquote, the just variants.
Maybe it'll be like the champion, just not linked to a god.
Well, I mean, isn't it supposed to
Maybe,
be? Isn't it
but
supposed to be
champions are more linked to oaths. Yeah.
like tank support? Isn't that the classical role that they're trying to fill? So wouldn't it just be like more specifically tank, no support?
Well,
As in
that's the
like you are
thing, though.
just
You have to.
unkillable?
You kind of have to. Well, Guardian implicates the purpose is to guard people.
Yeah.
Uh,
But like it just without the use of magic.
I mean, see, I don't know. The it's not that that's not an idea. It's more that what in-game functionality is it, right? Because it can't be like reducing damage players would take, because that's just pretty much champions thing. And it can't be like, oh, well, they're just like a class super focused on the shield, because that's kind of what the Bastion is all about, the archetype.
I mean,
Oh.
there's been archetypes that help cover what certain classes do, so it wouldn't be that far off.
Well, yeah, but
These
see, the thing is making a whole archetype, like one of the core archetypes, kind of defunct would just be bad game design. So I'm just curious how mechanically they're going to do it. I'm not saying that that's not necessarily the case. I'm just very curious what the purpose is, as that or we might actually get like a really good taunting class.
Taunter, or imagine what if Guardian is a 2 shield combat class?
That would be fun. Give players their double shield class would be kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious. Commander,
I could see Commander being kind of more a more expanded martial.
I actually don't think they're gonna go similar to the martial route. I think Commander is going to be more Like,
I mean, yeah, it's intelligence based.
I think they're gonna be more like aiding and giving players reactions, which Marshall kind of can do, but I think a lot heavier in that line and not like having a big buff for it.
I mean, like intelligent recall knowledge fighter, or at least just like intelligent. They very heavily imply that it's going to be some sort of martial class with intelligence. So like that'll be pretty cool. Oh yeah, you missed
You
the
missed
entire thing.
the whole
Hector.
thing, Hector.
There's an
We got
entire Paizo stream.
we got 2 new playtests coming out here soon.
Like literally like next week or 2 weeks.
I think it's sooner than that.
It's the 29th, I thought.
Oh, maybe. I was too busy writing notes to see the important parts, which is funny. And I'll be making a video. So for anyone who's curious, 29th, yeah. So that will be a little over, yeah, not next Monday, but the following Monday after. I will be making a video on everything that's happened during this. I'll make like an official, like, broken down video. I'm gonna go back and look through it. I also have some shorts I need to cut up now from the clips I just made. See you, Phoenix. So there's that, but yeah, there's 2 new classes coming out. It's the Commander and the Guardian. Nothing has been given mention of other than the fact that they'll be releasing 2025. So we'll begin to see those soon, and I'll be making videos on those as well.
Excited for the archetypes too. Those looked really cool.
Those were really cool archetypes.
Cleric getting their own class archetype is kind of sick and very needed. Yeah, those are classes, not archetypes. I mean, Pathfinder's always had a bazillion classes. Oh my goodness, did I not write them down? I clipped it. That's why I didn't have time to write down notes. Because Cleric getting what was it? It was like Battleground something. Oh gosh, let me go check my clips real quick.
There's the investigator archetype as well. That's happening as well.
Yeah, well, that's just an archetype. That's not a class archetype.
Palatine detective.
Yeah, the
Didn't they say
Palatine
it was
detective.
directly for investigator though?
No, I don't think so.
I thought they
Yeah,
directly said
Battle Harbinger, which is interesting because it uses the Skald character from first edition, which Skald was essentially like the battle bard.
Yeah, the barbarian bard.
Yeah, the barbarian bard combination class. So, you know, for everyone who's been really, really itching for an actual war priest, I think that's what the Battle Harbinger is going to be. And more importantly, it's a class archetype, so it does affect some of your class stuff that you get. So similar to how the Rune Lord changes wizard a little bit, which I don't know how they're gonna do Rune Lord actually, because that was based on schools of magic that no longer exist. So yeah, there's so much. Oh my god, Paizo. It's just, they're like, hey, you don't get to sleep the rest of the year. Congrats.
The adventure paths sound exciting too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I also just went back to the stream bit. The other one that they have is the Rivathun Emissary.
Yeah, the Rivathun Emissary, which is another just archetype.
More spiritual based, I believe, is what they said.
Yeah, I have a clip of it on the channel, and like I said, I will do a full video where I get to actually digest all the information and then spit it back out, because I was so frantically writing notes on my phone while everything was going on that I just ended up missing some stuff trying to get everything. But I have some clips, which I'll be turning into shorts as well. My TikTok shorts have actually been getting a lot more traction since I've been doing like clips from streams with like developers and all that kind of stuff. So all of this, and this is all coming in the later half of the year. So
Oh, yeah. I also, I just refreshed it. The Palatine Investigator is an investigator class archetype.
oh, is
It sounds like all those are class archetypes that they showed. Those are all
Oh.
specifically class archetypes. Because I was looking at a tweet where it was
that's a
someone
class
specifically,
archetype.
like another prominent Pathfinder person going like,
content
oh my god,
is
all
Archetype.
like 8 class archetypes. I was like, wait, what?
tapping into
So
divine
I went
Look,
through,
they're
scrubbed
familiar.
through. Yeah,
Nah, I just went
they're-
over and the Riverthin one was not.
tapping into divine
Was it not?
Look, they're familiar.
Well, at least the other one, that's an investigator archetype, which is that's hey, investigator class archetype. It's pretty cool. That vibe looks sick.
Order of the Palatine Eye, and interesting things have been afoot with the teen detective.
I'll admit, I'm excited for the God's Reign adventure paths, but I'm very excited for Pray for Death, so we finally get to see more of the Red Mantis assassins.
Oh, I
True.
want to play that. Like, honestly, this is the most I've ever been like, damn, I wish we just like, what if we just played these in succession? What if we just like played these out in a series? Like just random, because like, god, these look fun. I want Assassin's Creed and like probably kill a god or something. What if we kill one of the minor gods as a Red Mantis assassin? That sounds hype.
Well, they said that in the gods fight that some of the clergy are often pitted against each other, so I'm wondering who would be up against our Red Mantis god.
And
because
like
he's usually not friends with anyone except for Grandmother Spider.
True, and I looked at the Red Mantis discipline stuff, and it's very like anti-magic, anti-religious magic. So like, you know, I wanna play an assassin. That sounds hype. God, you know, just why can't we just play Pathfinder 24/7? I have all these characters sitting around now.
And we also have the Palatine detective who works with.
You know what I've been doing? I went on a small little challenge that I'm like partially done, almost done with. I'm making a build for every class.
Okay, so in the stream, I just went over my clip. The Palatine detective was not declared as an investigator archetype.
He says it right at the end when it cuts back to Lewis.
Does he?
Yeah, cuts back to Lewis, and he says this is for investigator.
Oh. So y'all heard it.
I must have missed it then.
Making a druid.
I have a druid build, yes. But yeah, it's when it cuts back to him at the end, and he says this is an option for investigator.
Oh, okay. I must have missed it then.
Yeah, it's like it's like literally like end of segment, and then he's like tacks it on like after his segment. So
weird. Okay.
Yeah, it's like
the Riverthune one was not mentioned as such. I know that much.
Yeah.
At least.
So. If it turns out to be a class archetype, it's because like there's literally no way we could have known because it straight up didn't say it. So who knows? It doesn't look like any class in particular. Maybe summoner, but who knows? Because it's communing with spirits. That doesn't seem class specific.
Yeah, we're getting 2 new class archetypes at the very least. One for cleric and one for investigator, and we also are getting a new general archetype. We have the I forgot the names already. It's a battleground
Harbinger.
The battleground Harbinger, which is the cleric class archetype, the Riverthune Emissary, which is a new archetype, and an investigator archetype, the detective of the Palatine Eye.
It looks so hype. And no, I am not making a build for every ancestry. I'm not insane.
Are you? I don't know, man. You've already gone so far.
Don't no. No. Like, listen, okay. I don't have everything done yet, but I have basically, because Path Builder lets you separate things out into folders. So I have a folder that is just every class, and if I like a build enough, I'm going to transfer it to my main Path Builder folder with like my cool character concepts. I have like a couple. I have I'll go in order of how I named them here. Most recent, I guess. One I just called Pirate. It's an orc gunslinger with like an orc knuckle dagger melee build. It's the sword and gun way of the drifter.
Yeah, Way of the Drifter.
Hell Knight Order of the Pyre, human fighter, going full in 40k Inquisitor vibes. I will stamp out cults. Here's the druid build for you, Devin, because I know you're so invested in that. Wildfire Gorin, an ancient oak who was long ago burned, and his entire vibe is a burned tree is often the strongest. And so he tends to wildfires. I was like, ooh, wildfire druid, that sounds fun. Spirit Instinct, dwarf barbarian, a tomb guardian barbarian who has the undead slayer dedication and channels his dwarven ancestors. I have just my D&D character Eric Faulkner, but a bard in Pathfinder. Basically the same character, but a champion and a cleric, a fletchling, follower of Anubis, who does the entire thing of, not a lot of people follow Anubis these days. What if I take his show on the road? I'm gonna weigh your heart against a feather, whether you like it or not. And he basically, because I saw the domain thing, the initiate domain thing for Void, and I was like, wait a second, I can cast your soul out of your body? That's fucking sick. And I immediately got the image of like him like throwing a feather at your heart and like your soul going boom as like you fly out of your body. A human inventor with the power suit style who goes on full Tony Stark style because he is a chrono skimmer. He had a massive accident that made his time stream all messed up, and the armor is the thing that holds him basically into a normal time stream. I guess another. I have two barbarians here. That's messed up. I have a stone brawler barbarian, I guess. I made an alchemist. He's just an assassin. It's a Vishkiana assassin. I just went full poisoner. And then I made a wizard. And his entire thing is he's a support healer necromancer because he's a wizard farmer that was like, I'm going to backwards engineer how to heal somebody with necromancy because he's like, all I have around me is dead things, like dead animals. So what if I just learn how to heal somebody by taking a dead thing and working backwards? Because that's basically healing. And he's just a support that uses corpses. And those are every build I have so far, and I'm still working on them. It's just a useful tool to learn what's in this game. It's been very helpful. I'm doing this for table talk. I'm doing this for us, Cam.
Mm-hmm. Sure you are. Sure you are.
I'm doing this. This is for us. This is to make our show better. I don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem. I
do this
don't
'cause I
have
want.
characteritis.
I don't have an issue. I'm not turning into Devin. I'm not turning into you. This is just well, I'm not gonna like decide all these. I only have a couple of these characters where I'd like, if I had a campaign, I'd be like, oh, this character would work perfect for this campaign. Boop, I'll toss him in.
That would make so many he can't possibly choose any of his characters.
Some of these are just purely like basically investigative journalism of what's in Pathfinder.
That's a way to say it. This is just investigative journalism, guys. I'm not doing this because I like it.
I learned what a Gorin is last night. It was pretty cool.
Gorons are pretty cool.
They are actually very interesting. I thought like their feats are really cool.
There's a lot of ancestries that are so cool. It sucks that Elf has some of the worst ancestry feats in the game.
It's not just me then. I thought it was just me who thought that.
I'm playing an elf, and my god, am I just not excited for any class feat I can pick up.
I'll also say, okay, I will be real. Mechanically speaking, very few ancestries I will say are that cool. There are like a couple that I would say if you're trying to make a solid build, I would argue that are like really great picks for like what your class is trying to do. Human always kind of feels like if you really want to go for like the general always kind of good pick, it feels like human with versatile heritage is always just feels like a good option.
Yeah, honestly.
Like feels like a kind of like the better option a lot of times. Especially if you're going martial, because like a lot of times I'm like, why wouldn't I? If I'm playing like a very in-your-face martial character, why wouldn't I go human versatile with tough? Why wouldn't I do that?
I don't know. I think a lot of the ancestries are pretty good. Dwarf, in contrast to elf, is really good because
I think
dwarf
orc
weapon.
is very cool too.
Orc's also really good. Leshy's fun. I would say not as mechanically hard hitting as some of the other ones, but Leshy's got some fun things in there at the very least. Don't look down on Gnome.
I have not looked at I haven't made a gnome character yet.
Technically, Fidget's a gnome. Like she can.
That's true.
She's got that life jump. That's specifically from gnomes.
Oh, interesting.
Gnomes
That's
have
from heritage.
Yeah, gnomes have some really, really cool feats actually.
There is one Fidget could pick up, and that's if she wanted to, she could try to just temporarily pop into the first world, so she just vanishes from combat.
Oh, weird. That's wild. I'll say fletchlings are also very cool. I like fletchlings a lot, but I will say their 5th level is very like their 1st level feats I think are really cool. Like are really like, ooh, these are really interesting and like can add something really fun to your build and like character with your both like, oh, this is mechanically useful and flavorful to the character. And then your 5th level are like, when the fuck am I going to use this? Which is the problem for a lot of ancestries where you have a lot of those moments. Fletchling gets hit by that because it's like useful shadow. You have a shadow that can do very little. It's a worse mage hand. And then you have another one of a 3-action ability to snuff all light sources around you. Which is like, that's cool, that's flavorful, but like...
Yeah, but it's 3 actions, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a full 3-action move.
Yeah, 5th level always feels like
else?
It's just an excuse to pick another 1st level feat.
Yeah, unless it's something very cool. Even like human, the 5th level human ones are not very good. Orc, I'll say has some. I think has like 1 or 2 really cool 5th level.
They have a lot of cool ones and
Orc's
stuff
feats
that builds onto each other.
I have a couple orc characters.
I should do an ancestry tier list at some point.
I would agree. I think there's some cool ancestries. I think like conceptually, every ancestry I've looked through is like their lore is really cool, and I look through like the feats, and I'm like, the flavor text is great, but like, God, this feat, mechanically speaking, is pretty lame. And it's the bit where when I'm looking at it right now in this state as a player, like making a build, it's a different frame of mind because if I was going into a campaign playing a character, I am picking it for the character, not the build, because I'm not that type of person. I pick my abilities and I pick my stuff because of what the character would pick, not because of what would fit a build. But like right now, I'm trying to make a build that is cool. So it's a different frame of mind.
True. I'm trying to find some good music to put in the background.
I have not made a kobold yet. I'll be real, I normally do not look into smaller like ancestries at all. I don't know. Something about playing like a very like small dude doesn't like hit me. Except I do have my goblin thaumaturge, which I actually really want to play at some point. I've built this character up a good amount. He is an actual unlock that I have. I will play him.
I think you would kobold feats for the fact that a lot of them are pretty funny, but also can be a gamba.
I'll have to look at them.
Like, I think there's one that you have like a draconic presence, and if you succeed like a fear check, you critically succeed, but if you fail, you critically fail.
Base.
Yeah, I think many of the ancestries are really interesting and good. And the thing is that what makes them all good is if you don't like any of the heritages, versatile heritages can make any of them way more interesting and spicy.
Versatile heritage is genuinely like they're all really dope. Like Nephilim, I think, is significantly more. I like remaster Nephilim so much. It's very cool. I think when we were talking to Michael Sayer, he made a very good point of saying like they're both just similar enough that you can shove it together.
Yeah.
I also think that all the elemental heritages are just so cool.
Yeah,
I'm a
heritages
sucker
are
for
so
the
hard to
Indian.
not choose versatile heritages because
I
it's
know,
like
right?
it's like, do I want a special ability or a whole nother feat tree? I mean, to be fair, right? Like, when you pick human, it's very easy to be like, I don't really need another one. But it's also like, but why not at the same time?
Some of
And
them are
like,
just super cool.
Elf is one of the ones that's the absolute worst about this because Elf needs versatile heritage the most, but it also has one of the best heritages with Ancient Elf.
Ancient
Elf is
really good.
so good.
So it's like, I don't know, but like, many of the versatile heritages are just so good, and we're getting more. We're getting more ancestries and such with the Qian Xia stuff coming out, which I still haven't gotten my world guide yet, which I'm so annoyed about.
Speaking of the elemental planes, have you guys looked into the Talos yet?
Talos are pretty cool, yeah.
I have not.
So are the Diendre or whatever they're called.
The Talos are the metal plane of elemental metal.
Oh yeah, that's the heritage. I've not built anything around the Talos yet.
Ooh, I like the Kenku art for it.
Yeah, the metallic feathers. and
Yeah.
stuff.
Also, genie weapon is pretty
Genie weapon's
cool.
really good.
Yeah, the genie weapon, the like the genie sword is pretty dope.
Yeah, if you're going for a certain like element aesthetic, like the wish blades and stuff are so good.
Yeah, I'm thinking about because like it was hard because I have a vibe I want to hit of like this planar this like air heritage geniekin, very much like the guy who's just at home in the sky, like sky surfer kind of vibe, but also part of a group that secures the planar connections and makes sure it's like nothing that is crossing over is not supposed to be crossing over. There are no spooky monsters coming over that shouldn't be. And Storm Soul using a genie weapon, like stuff like that. It's like there's just so many cool stuff. And like the Ranger elements added so many cool things.
They really did, yeah. The so I mean, with the new options coming out as well, like the Qianxia stuff, we're gonna get some new Magus hybrid studies too. Two new Magus, and man, it makes me feel so warm and fuzzy inside when someone jumps into my comments saying it's Magus, not Magus, not Magus, when Magus is actually the correct one.
Who cares how it's pronounced? Who cares?
People are silly. And even the Paizo staff are like, we don't really know exactly.
I just like, my principle is, did you not understand the word or sentence I was saying? Then I cannot pretend to care about pronunciation. The only time I will ever really care is if like did me calling it Magus mean that you just actually did not understand the sentence I was saying?
Right. It's
Other
it's
than
so
that,
goofy.
just, I don't care. I always heard it as Magus. I'm not gonna change calling it Magus because it is fake. And this is a game and it's not real. And I'm not gonna hurt
the word is
game's
technically real.
feelings.
but-
No,
No, I disagree.
someone made it up.
I mean,
All words are
kinda,
made
yeah.
It's made up because it's a wizard guy.
Well, the actual word magus or whatever. Well, magus is like a Persian sorcerer, and then magus is like a derogatory term towards like sorcerers and such. So it's all very silly, and in the end, it's like localization changes how things are said. Literally, the fact that everyone calls countries by names that the country themselves doesn't use is already ridiculous. The fact that we don't call Japan Nihon or Nippon is insane to me, because like, why would you not call a culture's country by the name that the culture uses? Like, why do we call it Germany and not Deutschland?
I mean, looks at World War II.
What do you mean? We were calling them Germans before then too.
Yeah, it was probably derogatory.
No. It's just localization, that's all. Japan is literally called Japan because people misheard Nippon. Or Nihon.
It's like, it's just the anglicized and like the Latinized words for a lot of it. And then English is the most spoken language, and then also the most powerful nations spoke it. So then they're the ones that spread it.
Well,
And then
correction,
we're
it's
like,
the
we're not
most
changing.
widely spoken.
Widely spoken.
The most spoken language is Mandarin.
True. And then they also had the most like economic might, and the most like the might to go around and be like, we're not correcting it, and you can't do anything about it. Sucks. So that kind of just stuck.
Yeah. So, it's like, whatever. I don't care. But yeah, we get 2 new hybrid studies, which I'm super excited for, because I think I hope Magus gets some reworking a little bit. I feel Magus is so clunky. And like
I
it
would
shouldn't
love if it got altered a little.
it shouldn't be as clunky as it is. The problem is it's so action starved all the time. For essentially, like, their core mechanic is just an action efficiency of 1. It's an action efficiency of 1, and kind of it makes up for some of the accuracy problems that magic casters have by just channeling it into your weapon instead. But they are moving towards a design of removing spell attacks mostly from the game anyway. So it makes less sense for Magus to not only like need to recharge their spell strike and everything like that, but the fact that marshals need like things like mobility and stuff as options to do their stuff, and Magus really struggles with anything that requires extra actions. If you can't get to it in a single move, your turn is like pretty much over.
Yeah, it feels weird playing them. Like, I don't know, because that was my experience. Like, summed up better, is like it was like harder to put into words when I was playing Adrian. It was like, I don't know. it was the thing of like it never felt fully satisfying, and also it was just a lot of situations where it's like, man, I hope this works. And it didn't.
I would have been
Because
satisfied if they had a specific action to load a spell into their blade that could be released at will after that point. Rather than just you need to run up and then use Spell Strike. It would have been better
Yeah.
if Spell Strike was like a 2-action cast a spell action that charged your weapon.
and then like the next time it hits.
Not even necessarily the next time it hits, but as a free action on a hit, you can release
Yeah.
a spell.
Because that was the part I never liked. It was just like there was just so many opportunities to fully waste a resource.
Yeah.
It's like I get it. You're like, you know, there's such big pop off potential. You're trying to balance it, but on the other hand, it's just like you can just throw away spell slots, like just fully shit them out, and like nothing. You do like 0 damage, nothing happens, and it's like okay, well, cool. And it's like I don't know. I feel like you can at least have it be locked in and not have it, not have it be broken.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
feel
like,
like there's just better
that's
ways.
literally that. Like just I feel like it's probably not even that uncommon. Like Mog's player finally rerolled Wizard because he kept having like shit luck when he was trying to go Nova. Like
Yeah.
it's unsatisfying after a long amount of time of just like I played this to be the burst DPS and I'm never getting the chance to play the vibe I want. I never get to have that moment. Might as well just play Wizard. There's consistency in Wizard.
Yeah. Well, and more importantly than I think even that, it's just you're limited on spell slots, very limited on spell slots, and it's all contingent on basically hitting, which makes it amplifies one of the worst parts of a D20 system, which is how swingy the dice can be. Which is just I can't say bad game design because they're just designing within the system that they're using. But it's something that is very unsatisfactory for players, which is the fact that they can not only end up just like completely wasting an action, actually 2 actions, which is worse, but also losing out on a spell slot in addition. Granted, I did play Amogus, and when I did crit with a spell strike, it was the best thing ever. But it's such a gamble to get there. I would have preferred, I would have preferred a slightly clunkier design of 2-action spell charging your weapon and then free action releasing it, and just make it where you can't critical the effect if it's a spell attack roll. There's also just not a lot of spell attack rolls, which is also super detrimental because then if you don't take versatile spell strike, Magus feels really bad.
Yeah, I can understand that. I ran into that similarly with Chiari, because in most instances I was doing the Archer dedication, like 2 action, add +2 circumstance to the hit or whatever. Which is kind of like spell striking.
I mean, I'm all for high risk, high reward, but I'm not. It needs to have at least some level of consistency or some capability.
Like, if you could eventually tighten it up to where it still does, like, I don't know, maybe your, like, weapon damage or something. Or not weapon damage, but, like, damage per one of your weapon dice, it could probably feel a little better, but it's still kind of rough.
Also, Arcane Cascade, another part of Magus that feels super terrible. Because, now I need to get into a stance and use another action as a Magus. You know what I would have preferred, actually? I wish Arcane Cascade... So, my whole 2-action, like, loading a spell thing, I wish you did that, and while a spell was loaded, you were under the effects of Arcane Cascade. because then you're kind of playing like the swashbuckler game of, well, while I have a spell loaded, my general stats are better, but if I get a chance to unleash it, then I can unleash it, but then I need to recharge with the 2-action like reload essentially.
Yeah, that would feel better. Like
I think that'd feel
having
better.
having it operate a little bit like panache, but then requires a spell slot.
Well, that and like you have to have a spell loaded, so when you hit an enemy, you have to be like, okay, give up panache, unleash the spell, or keep panache essentially, arcane cascade, and keep going. I think that would just have created a better dichotomy with it.
Also, I'm curious if it would operate in a fun way of like you load up a spell and like you just unload like, all right, fucking I have a 4th level fireball right here, and it like unloads at a specific point like above it. You like maybe even you can control it outwards, but then you're like in a situation where you're like, okay, I can pop out this, do a lot of damage, but if I do that, there's a giant fireball that's gonna come out right here.
Maybe we'll do that sometime. Maybe I'll homebrew Magus next time someone plays a Magus and use this new variant style and see if that feels better.
I think I honestly I don't know how much it like play into, but I also think it'd be really fun if there was a mix of the risk and reward of also like having to think about like, yeah, I'm putting a spell in, but also will the spell be something I want? If I'm gonna cast it, could I get in the situation where this spell going off in like 2 turns is something I'd want to go off?
Yeah.
It's like that'd be like planning ahead, playing an intelligent fighter character, like, and then also having that moment where you're like, I planned perfectly, and then like a perfect line spell goes off, and you maneuvered exactly right. You'd be like, oh, that feels so good. You like do the giant sword smash, and then like boom, a giant shockwave. It'd be so cool.
The only problem with this build is hybrid study, or the hybrid spells lose some of their functionality, because their whole point is recharging your spell strike. I mean, I guess you could just have a need to recharge the spell strike by using a focus point, so then technically the most times you could spell strike in a combat is equal to your focus points, maybe. But then you'd have to just give them 2 focus points like starting out, I think, to balance that out.
There's ways to work around it, and like maybe even find ways to make it more fun, because it's just, I don't know, I see a lot of people talk about and have fun with Magus. I don't fully agree. I think Magus is really dope in concept. I hope Magus gets some rework.
I think things like Starlit Span work way better. The ability to shoot your spells at people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that's very interesting. Also, like, if it's an area spell, then it should just be... Well, is that how first time I don't know. But yeah, so we're getting a lot more character options. We're getting a lot of general stuff. I mean, Paizo players, man, we're eating good. We're also getting Starfinder 2, like, soon, you know? I feel like there's just going to be a lot to do. I've been feeling kind of bad because I've been kind of lax on content a lot lately. Just kind of been working through some burnout, some tabletop burnout, and some YouTube content burnout, and mostly because like a lot of my main series got taken off. I think what I'll end up doing is I'll just go back to doing archetypes. But just skipping over archetypes I feel like are going to be overly affected by the remake. And just get back into the flow of just making videos again.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that I feel like in general tabletop's gonna be doing a lot of fun stuff, especially around Paizo. I feel like we're starting to developmentally get to a period where a lot of new games coming out are gonna be copying a lot of Paizo's homework. And I'm excited for that.
Finally, the game that we want people to copy. We've been asking for so long. We've been asking for them to use the orc license as well. Use the orc license, copy their homework, because also it implies that you're, talking to your community, adding stuff that they want, doing cool stuff.
Oh, huh. Expansive spell strike. I think we might have been doing that wrong. I don't remember if we were. If it's an area spell, it goes off even if you don't hit the target.
Oh, interesting.
They just must be in the area.
I don't remember how, I don't remember how we rolled it when I was playing Magus.
Yeah.
I just remember, all I remember is disappointment playing Magus. I don't remember our ruling on air, how my fireballs went.
Well, I know you had that one coral ability you liked. I think you
did
ended up
have
just
that.
casting that.
Granted, it's also because we were underwater for a good amount of fights.
Yeah.
And the coral ability is just an underwater fireball.
Yeah.
But I also had the ability to cast an underwater fireball because that was a archetype ability. Steam spell. From Elementalist. Oh, now that it happened, I'm seeing stuff on the stream. Michael Sayer apparently went off script.
Oh.
When he was talking about other deity deaths.
Oh.
The whole thing about his favorite deity dying, he said, you might hear about other deity deaths, dismemberments, etc. during the stream. Maybe it could happen. I go off script all the time. That's what he tweeted before the stream started.
That's funny because the first guy mentioned other gods dying too.
Yeah, and then I guess he named one specifically.
Oh, he wasn't supposed to name them specifically. I see.
I mean, it's Michael Sayer.
Whatever.
I mean, he can get away with it.
I don't think anyone cares that much if a lesser deity dies anyway.
He does. It's his favorite. He was him
No, I
and
mean
10 other people.
Yeah, I don't think anyone cares if it's spoiled or whatever.
No, exactly. And also he was the one that penned the murder of his favorite god. He gets to break that news.
I see.
Part of the grieving process.
Gorham dies. I like they used the Dark Souls death screen type for Gorham.
Yeah, it's fitting.
Or I guess that could also be Grand Theft Auto. It's just not the yellow text though.
It's kind of interesting looking at the history of Gorham if you look him up on Pathfinder Wiki. No one knows where he came from.
He appeared one day, started fighting.
His genesis is generally considered to have resulted from conflicts that erupted between orcs and humans following the former race's surge to the surface during the Age of Darkness.
Oh!
That kind of explains also why they would get rid of him in a sense. It's another similarity.
Yeah, because when the Age of Darkness happened after the Earthfall, the orcs were the ones who colonized the entirety of the surface of Galarian, because everyone else was dang, and went underground. Especially the dwarves and the elves and stuff, because they were the dwarves. I mean, they got out of the sky and then they were beautiful, we found the sky, and then the meteors came down. So bad luck there, And then the orcs found a dark sky and were well, we can work with this.
Oh man, Paizo's making it harder and harder to pick classes though. Because Cleric looks like it's gonna be really, really good with War of Immortals stuff.
It really is.
The Battleground Harbinger's just going to be really interesting.
All this means is the way to work this out is we'd have to do some War of the Immortals adventure paths.
Yeah.
But
says
know how
Mr.
we
never
keep the
has
time.
time in his schedule.
I say that, and I also don't know where I'd put the time.
You know, it's funny because one of the things I've been complaining the most about is the fact that I only run one game a week. I
Fair.
crave running tabletop. It's something that like running one game a week is actually making me unhappy because I'm like, I just want to play more. I want to run more games. I'm like, I'm in like 3 tabletop games. And I'm still like, but if I ran too.
I'd also, even if there was a situation where it would come up, I would also be like, nope, I'm at my max is 3.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like I get you. I understand. I have that feeling too. Just like I just want more time in my schedule for tabletop.
Yeah.
What's so wrong with that?
Exactly nothing.
Yeah.
So that's all we want. We want more time for tabletop.
One day I'll be able to pay people to play tabletop.
Then it doesn't count. That's work. That'll fix it. 'Cause yeah, I'm actually starting my new position tomorrow.
Oh, finally.
That starts tomorrow. So I will have more money.
Well, stream's gonna go on for just a little bit longer. I think we'll just end at 6. Because that was what my intention was anyway. I didn't think their stream was gonna be so short. But I think if I look at their history, I think that's actually pretty normal.
It did just kind of fly by.
Pleasure to see
Oh,
all of you.
I think as running my own games, I'm kind of excited for the God's Reign stuff, but now I'm looking at the pile of ever-growing adventure paths I want to run, going, oh no.
Yeah, I'm always terrible with running adventure paths. It's just something that like I'm just so I do so much better when I can just work off my own pace and my own things. Yeah, that was a 48-minute stream.
I think that's about average for them.
It seems like they do about like hour plus streams typically. Like hour and a half.
I mean, in all fairness, they've been hyping up the God's Reign prophecy for a while now. It's just the quick, give them the info and run, let them stew.
Yeah, and to be fair, like also the first like 10 minutes of it was nothing. So it's actually not even like actually a 48-minute stream. But regardless, we got a lot coming out. We got new playtests. Man, I actually just realized I know how to go through playtests between books. Yay! I'm gonna get a book and I'm gonna be like, ah, cool. Let me skim through this really, really fast so that I can make videos so that I can then do more videos on the playtest stuff.
I can't wait to one day, hopefully in the next couple months, join you on that journey, but avoid the parts of the book that you're scanning through and I'm reading all the flavor text.
Yeah.
You're digesting the mechanics, I'm digesting the flavor text. And I'm just like, oh, this is a lot of reading, right, man? And like, cause like, man, as someone who's trying to start up like adding in Pathfinder lore to the mix-up to a lore channel, this entire shit hopping in is like, it's like the biggest update.
Oh no. The sweaty neckbeards of Pathfinder. are not taking the death of Gorham well.
Oh, is on Twitter or
This is on Facebook, but
Oh,
I'm sure it
no.
will spread to the Reddit before long. A lot of people are just like, yeah, Paizo's going woke. They're taking out the God of War now. We can't even have war in our games.
It's not that they're permanently removing war; they're just removing that specific deity.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
silly. They're being dumb.
Yeah, it's like the idea of war can exist now. I guess they're getting rid of war, and not that like the other very obvious way of looking at it of, oh shit, the god of fighting died. What is that scary?
Also, in subtext, War of Immortals.
Yeah. And also, like, if you read about Gorham dying makes sense, because if, like, a giant thing is happening, if it's like a battle, Gorham's the first guy to charge in. He's the first guy to go in, no questions asked, all right, let's throw down, and then would, like, die in that moment, and then, like, uh-oh. Oh, and then, like, yeah, it's literally what Devin said at the beginning of this, like, Gorham to set the stage of, oh, that's the threat. And like set the stage for the other gods. And be like, oh god, oh, that was him. That was the guy. Oh, okay.
Does this sound like Gore God Killer from the Thor comics?
Yeah.
This does ruin my elf fighter though. Toss his character idea aside.
What do you
I'm just
mean?
happy Son Kafan isn't dead.
There's other gods who have war aspects.
Alternatively, how does the other question to ask yourself is how does a character whose god just fucking died impact their character?
Oh yeah, they had a whole screen for that.
Yeah, just like you just have a situation where you're like, yes, I especially if you're an elf, you're like, man, I love my god. No. Because you're like, his now like thousands of years of his life or something is just thrown out the window because he's like, no, my boy.
True.
And then maybe his entire character arc is, I just want a piece of my god to remember him.
Yeah, right. I need this divine artifact as a memento.
Like he
my
actually
God.
doesn't want it for the power, and like other characters like, sure. And he's like, no, actually, I mean this genuinely. I just want to remember him. And they're like, sure. It's like, I can't be more genuine. I don't know how. My charisma's not good.
Opens a bar, puts it on the wall. There's people in the there. It's like, is that a +3 major blade of deific destruction on the wall? He's just like, no, it's a memento. Don't
Like
touch.
a tear falls down his face. Like, it's for a very important man. He died recently.
has like a bunch of pictures of Gorham covering the wording, and it just says "Do it for him."
Yeah, like the idea of a guy being like I want to get this out of the hands of those who wouldn't use it, right? Or even like I want to get this out of the hands of those who like wouldn't honor him. Though also a follower of Gorham would be like, I'm going to use this to murder so many people.
Yeah.
That is the true emotion of a follower of Gorham, and also the vibe of like, you would use this lame. You're too much of a pussy to use this right. What a loser. Give me that sword. You don't know how to use it right.
I love my I had a morbid character idea of a cleric of Gorham that was just like, I'm just here to ensure the bloodshed. So please, when you get injured, let me heal you so you can go back to the battlefield.
Blood does no good inside the body.
True. We can't praise Gorham if blood is inside of you.
I love I clicked on an announcement on the Reddit. I was seeing if any weirdos were on the Reddit. The first thing I see, like, rip to the newly announced dead god. First thing I see, how did the God of War die in a war? Is he stupid?
He should have been at his strongest.
But is he stupid? Like Twitter meme, like so much. And
To
then,
be fair, the war is after Gorham dies, not during.
100%. God of War was outwarred, and now the other gods are in war. Someone like fire emoji writing down.
It's I'm genuinely surprised because I don't think Gorham was even in my top 5.
He was my second. I was thinking at least he was a solid second once I learned like, oh yeah, once I heard the reason of like who he was, learned who he was, and then was like, oh yeah, because like what if he was the second to imply that like how scary the opposition was? I was like, oh, that's a good point. That'd be really cool. Because I didn't have a second vote, really. I was like, it can go either way. And then once I heard Gorham, I was like, I'd put my money on that one. And then, but my main actual thing was like, I was still on Sarenrae the entire time. Like, Sarenrae's gonna die. Kill the sun.
Kill the sun, yeah.
Because I was like, that'd be pretty major.
Which
like,
was so
imagine
crazy.
The imagery of that, like the sun, like the sun going out and like raining across the Galarian.
That would be really cool.
That would also work for like the God's Reign, but I mean, I also like the idea of Gorham raining down like the shards of his armor and sword. That also is hype. Imagine Caden Kellyan dying, but like his drink spilling.
Yeah.
Just drops his drink. Like that's what spills, and then someone just gets drunk, I guess.
I was gonna say something. I forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely wasn't my favorite, or it wasn't one of my top choices. Sarenrae would have been interesting, and I felt like that was just another tie-in with D&D that they were gonna cut.
That's
Aurori,
one of the reasons, yeah.
I love Aurori, but I feel like image-wise, he's just not a very exciting-looking god, and also just one on the list of like, oh, it's a human, it's a guy. Aurori just looks like a guy, even though like in his mythology he kicked the ass of 1,000 gods to get to his position, which is like pretty cool. And like you can't get rid of Caden Kellyan, so it's just like,
nah, he's too cool.
So it's just like sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't think you could even if you wanted to, since everyone got him to where he is.
True.
He the accidental god, and then like I liked one of the reasons that scrolled by in the submissions was kill was Imode? Imode was one of the Imode. She
was.
Yeah, the kill her off because it'd be really funny to just cement in lore that humans can't keep a god worth shit.
Yeah, even though Abadar
gods just keep dying,
is a god representative, like a humanesque god.
It's just the tie to Critical Role. That's just the because Critical Role used Sarenrae, and then D&D, and then no mercy, cocks a gun. But also welcome back. But the main reason I also was picturing it too was other than my pure like conspiracy theory dumb bit was God's reign. If the whole thing was dying god reign across Galarian, I mean, what better to reign across the land than a dying sun? That'd be a really dope image. The sun going out and then everyone going, like everybody on Galarian going, oh no.
When dark vision absolutely matters.
Yeah, oh yeah. You're like, that's bad. And then like the blood of Sarenrae going everywhere, like just raining down. Be impactful.
I knew they wouldn't get rid of Lamash too.
No. You gotta have monsters.
Oh, that's right. That's what I was gonna say. It's wild to me that the highest percentage on that graph they had was Lamashtu, when literally no one talks about it.
Yeah, like I felt like Lamashtu was the one of the most like they haven't declared Lamashtu safe, but like who's actually thinking it's Lamashtu?
Right.
Like actually, like because the
Apparently
main point
a lot of
is
people.
because it was so overt that like a god dies and a war starts. Like that's the premise, and it's like, okay, yeah, so it has to be a god that people actually like, and it's one of the reasons where even like, okay, yeah, because who's gonna start a war over like Zonka Fontai? That dude sucks.
Right.
It's like, yeah, let's get rid of the evil gods at the beginning. Those are the safe gods to eliminate. I like Caden Callion, but like honestly, who's gonna bat in his corner?
Well, the player base.
The player base,
Actually.
but not the setting.
Yeah.
Like that's the difference. It's like the players aren't going to invade Galarian.
Well,
that
you know,
would be a fun concept.
That's why I was like Torag. Torag would be so interesting because it's like the main core deity of the dwarves and represents a lot of what dwarves are. It could represent a big change to one of the major ancestries in the setting. That was my hope for anyway, because I knew it wasn't gonna be Nethys because they're just not gonna do another Mistra. That'd be just such poor taste.
And no, they do it, but they do it cooler.
Nah.
They do it cooler.
Not even.
They do it better, and then they do it cooler. But then, like, Serenray is the god that's good. Everyone likes her. She has an important role. And then she dies, and that's considered such a absolute, like, oh, you messed up. Like, oh, God. How could you? And now you die. And Gorham, like, the idea that Gorham charged into a fight more than likely and fought something that was so bad that he died, the god of fighting. And it's like, this is bad. This is scary. God, I can't wait. I can't wait to, like, read these.
Yeah, I'm genuinely interested. I'm very curious to see what comes out. What new monsters, right? Like, what new creatures are going to be coming out for a lot of this? I mean, we saw that dwarf that got a little too close to Rovagug and got turned into one of his spawn. I guess one of their spawn, technically. Like, that thing, sick. And I feel like...
so cool.
I feel like there's just... We're just super ripe for a lot of opportunity to do a lot of interesting stuff. I'm also very curious because after Monster Core, like, there were 3 whole books of monsters that essentially didn't necessarily get made useless because, like, most of the creatures are just Paizo's creations anyway. But now there's just more interesting stuff I think that they're planning on doing. And I want to see more monsters for players to fight. Even though there's currently over 2,600 different monsters.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
Yeah, give us more. Because, like, I'm feeling like it could be like double that.
I mean, yeah. Well, also to be fair, that number includes a lot of like generic ancestry. Like here is a enemy catfolk you might fight, or a dwarf, or whatever, and others are like specific creatures from modules that were made for the module in general.
Fair.
So, like, but even then, even if I was to give a very gracious number of like 100 of those are like specific creatures or whatever, there's still over 2,000 monsters.
Fair.
Oh yeah, also we need like things to fight in the War of Immortals. Like, give us a bunch of demigods to duke it out with.
Oh yeah, I mean, if Exemplar's coming out, give us some Exemplars to murder.
Yeah.
Give us some angry spawns of Gorham.
Maybe that is the point of the Red Mantis stuff, is you assassinating demigods so they don't rise to divinity.
That's the adventure path I'm so curious about.
That would be a fun one to do if that is the case.
That's gonna be the one where I'm like, man, I want to play that.
Yeah. Like, I'm not a big fan of doing Adventure Pass myself because it just clashes with my style innately. But man, there's gonna be a lot of cool stuff. A lot of really cool stuff.
Assassin's Creed style, Dishonored style, because it's probably more Dishonored like. Dishonored style campaign, killing divine stuff. That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, just imagine Assassin's Creed, only you have actual magic powers rather than eagle vision, and you pray to a giant mantis creature. You know,
I want it.
Doesn't that sound just cool?
Gimme. I'm gonna make a red mantis build probably tonight.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you
What class is
will.
red mantis good for?
Fighter. Mostly because they get access to the weapon early.
Well, I already made a fighter build, so that's gonna be hard.
Have you done a rogue one yet?
No.
Rogue might be a good one for it because you get all of the assassin feats to add onto it, so you don't have to take the assassin dedication.
That'd be good.
You could go cleric
because I already have a cleric build.
Too bad.
Okay. So what you're saying is, what specifically of the builds you haven't done? Does it work for? Cool. Why don't you name those off first?
No.
Yes. Have you been a champion?
Yeah. Non-religious, past the list, like on the list downwards, if you go them alphabetically. I have done past Gunslinger, no, Inventor. After Gunslinger is Inventor. So Inventor, downwards. Or wait, no. And like Kineticist. So doing Kineticist. It's like everything after that.
Well, the big part about the Mantis is mostly just they get a lot of spells that they get access to through their red Mantis magic. And then they get some stuff like, they get an effect where it's like, oh, if you die, you just don't leave any traces behind.
Ranger might be cool for it.
Or you can turn into a giant mantis. That's one of their powers, that'd be cool. Mantis form.
Play the Red Mantis campaign, like the Dark Brotherhood Skyrim thing, where you just play through it and you're like, I'm a high strength, heavy armor melee build. And they're like, you need to sneak in there and quietly assassinate this guy. And you're like,
yeah, I mean, like, I think any martial can really do Red Mantis really well. There's not anything super specific because, like, you just get most of the spells that they give you access to. Hitting the opponent is not a big deal with your spell DC except for Paralyze. But you get True Strike, which has been changed to Sure Strike. And how spellcasting works has been slightly altered. So if you have any spellcasting innately, that makes your spells a little stronger. Yeah, no, like any martial really can just make use of it because all it is just you just get a lot of assassin-esque spells in addition to whatever your class is. So
the ranger could utilize, there's a couple of edges that would work really well for it too.
Ranger's got some good ones too.
Ranger could be really good purely because their main weapon is the Sawtooth Saber. And the Sawtooth Saber is designed for dual wielding. So a Flurry Ranger Red Mantis Assassin is probably super scary.
Oh, that'd be sick. I might do that.
You would just need to take, I think it's a general feat to get you trained in Sawtooth Sabers.
I think so.
Yes, we're talking about the Pray for Death adventure path that they announced.
Yeah, Pray for Death.
In the random idea of like, what if we did it? I would make, obviously. It's like I want to make a Red Mantis. That adventure path looks sick.
I'm so sad you guys didn't go to their island in Riptide. That was one of the choices you guys had.
Trust me, I wanted to.
I probably would have if I knew.
I mean, what about the announcements? There's a lot of really cool announcements. So
He hated all of them.
Torag didn't
Yeah.
die. Bad stream.
He was like yelling, he was kicking stuff over because like
I threw my
just
chair.
he wasn't a fan of like any of the announcements at all. Like he wanted all the gods to live. He wanted less books to be released.
I wanted less new character options coming out.
Less cool. He wanted like the character options to be less and lamer.
And talk about that lame adventure path that we're talking about.
I know, right? It looks.
Oh yeah.
it
Also,
looks too
fuck the
cool.
new playtests coming out
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
The playtest is too interesting and too soon. Get rid of it. We want it to come next year.
Damn, I've been a wreck for 4 hours. Paizo, how could you do this?
Yeah, I also that actually is the part that hit me the most was the fact that this is such a massive like I thought this was just gonna be like at least a short like maybe the next couple story things. Not like, oh, this is like a thing.
Yeah, they're releasing a hardcover for it too. What was the name of the hardcover? Oh yeah, Pray for Death. Pray for Death is the hardcover.
Yeah.
So
Pray for
it's
Death.
their first like new hardcover for second edition. Its own self-contained adventure with Curtain Call and Triumph of the Tusk coming out in addition. Man. Orcs are getting a lot of crazy stuff happening too. Like their shit is getting completely shook up.
I'm excited. I like Orc.
Same, I do too. They're really cool. I hope that the Pathfinder novel gets an audiobook release so I can listen to it at work, because it's the best chance for me to listen to books. I'm at work for a good while.
And now you have more hours to listen to them.
Exactly. I'll be doing that tomorrow for a good long while.
My god, Paizo heads are eating good this year. Yeah, we are.
That's a part of the video I was making sure to really heavily hit home, is just like, I need you to understand how good Paizo, being a fan of like Pathfinder and Paizo stuff, you have it. Please understand. Please understand.
We get more than one character option every 2 years. D&D couldn't.
I'm gonna have to actually go in because I have a joke where I talk about that the game has too many classes. Where I talk about like I would talk about all the classes, but there are 23 classes in the game currently. There are
Oh,
25
shit.
at the end of 2024, and I'm gonna now cut in with a voiceover and be like, okay, as of April 16th, 2024, they just announced next year
more.
there's going to be 27. God, please stop.
We're at
Slow
nearly
down.
30 classes.
Slow down. Stop doing this.
And
Like-
and okay, so like also don't forget nearly 30 completely unique classes with most of the casters have similar playstyles, I'll admit, but most of them having very unique and diverse playstyles.
You do need more classes though. You're right. It's still not enough.
Yeah.
I need more builds to make.
I need to make more builds because I can only make one build per class ever. It's done
I'm
forever.
done.
Sucks
I'll be
for
done with the project.
I guess sucks for Magus because they're getting new hybrid studies and you just can't make a build on them.
No, I get one build for this project. I'll make a build for every class. My investigative journalism in the game, and then I'm done. And I will get rid of this habit. I'm going cold turkey, because that always works.
Yep.
And I'll never think about it again.
I need a stream button that says denial intensifies just for you.
You should have a button that says Alex is coping.
Yeah, Alex is coping. There should just be a button because it happens so frequently.
I
I'll
do
go
know a
along with
lot.
the Nurgle counter, which to be fair, you haven't
do-
used all year, so
I have not. I do. There is a great little segment on my channel for a video, a short video I made that's just called "Average Imperial Fist Fan" when someone brings up the Iron Cage. And then the comments, it sums up, I think, me comedically very well, where it just says, now this isn't a cope, proceeds to cope even harder. Which, yeah, that is just me.
my goodness, we have so much going on. So I know a lot of you have been hopping into the chat here. I will be making a video.
It's not the Alex problem. Don't call it that. It's not me.
It's the Alex problem.
I am trying to make our Thursday live streams better products by learning the game better.
Where's
That
my
is
button?
all this is.
Where's my button?
No, I'm not coping.
Alex coping harder.
No.
I need a
isn't a
progressive
problem.
button where I keep pressing it and it just gets bigger, and it says
gets bigger
coping
and
even
flashes.
harder.
It
starts
starts
flashing. Same wavelength.
Just when I start like yelling, that's when it starts.
Exactly.
No.
Cope intensifies. Yeah, it just every time I do it, intensifies, gets bigger and bigger, and starts flashing.
It's also Dead Phoenix. Yeah, one of those people is literally in this call. Say hi, Devin.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Someone with
making a
Excel
build right
sheets full
now.
of characters. The fact that like you make character builds all the time. You're a lot more. I think if I ask you a question of like I'm looking for like a build of this thing, you can immediately name something that's in the game like a lot quicker.
Actually, I think I'm pretty like, just don't really play the game a lot. Kind of
Devin's trying desperately to gaslight stream.
You're staying out of the fucking crosshairs right now. It's like, I don't know, I'm kind of a newbie. I have a fighter. I played a human fighter once.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I was updating my spreadsheet.
You have played a human fighter. It was your really interesting.
Well, it was an
mythological-
elf fighter.
I was an elf. You're right.
Also
Yeah.
ancient elf.
Fair enough.
I think it's my favorite player so far in any game I've ever run. He hits the enemy one time and he asks for their social security number.
That was such a fun time. The amount of actual just entire enemy character sheets I got was amazing.
It just hits you once, says your IP address.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Doxes you immediately.
How did you know my address? I know everything about you.
Galen is not stream friendly.
No.
But yeah, so I will be making a video tomorrow after I compile everything, get everything. I did miss a bit, so I'm gonna definitely sit through the stream again and write some stuff down. I talk about all this stuff, talk about my feelings on it after I've had some time to look into it, and also talk about what's coming up on the channel, because now we have 2 playtests coming in about 2 weeks. So that's pretty huge. And I'll be doing the Qian Xia book hopefully soon. They haven't sent it to me yet. And this is actually the second time I've ended up requesting this book. Because they do several of the books in a row every time they do a call out for it. And so it just it was on the last one I ended up calling for, and then it was on this recent one. So hopefully they didn't lose my information amongst everything. Also, shorts. I'll be doing the shorts that I made during the stream. I might make some new shorts because the audio is very quiet in the short. But I'll be doing some shorts that will be going up on TikTok and YouTube as well. So, but with that, I think we're gonna call it. this has actually been a longer stream than we normally stream for Table Talk, so I
That's
think
true.
it's fair. It was a lot of fun. It sucks that we had to sacrifice Riptide on the altar of content today, but that's just how it works sometimes. I guess since we have the opportunity, Alex, do you have anything to leave us off with today before we end the stream?
Well, I've been mentioning it, but this Thursday when Table Talk goes live, Cam here talks about tabletop mechanics, specifically Paizo and Pathfinder mechanics. If you are interested in Pathfinder lore in the near future, go subscribe to my channel, Glue Boy. It's linked in Cam's YouTube, or just look up Glue Boy on YouTube. I am going to be starting covering Pathfinder 2nd Edition lore. There will be a video coming out on Pathfinder 2nd Edition Thursday morning. So if you are interested in that, subscribe. Currently, I do Vampire the Masquerade and Warhammer 40k content. So if you're interested in that, go sub. Yeah, I got Pathfinder stuff coming out soon. So that way we'll both be on the Pathfinder train.
Yeah, and I think I'll be doing archetype content again here soon as well as Lancer content. I didn't want any content to get shadowed today because I felt like today's video is gonna shadow super hard anything I produce. So I'll be doing those videos later this week. I'll be getting back into a decent content thread, also doing the Qian Xia stuff whenever I get. So if you have not done so already, subscribe on YouTube. Follow, do whatever on any other platforms. We also have a Discord linked in the description where anytime something happens, go live. We also had a poll, actually. I think the number one polled god dying was it Sarenrae? Oh, that was the wrong Discord.
It was Sarenrae with 4 votes. Everyone else was tied at 2. Lamash 2 was also at 2 votes.
Yeah.
Lamash 2, Shaylin, and Gorham had 2 votes. Torag with 1 vote. You were really holding the line there.
I had to.
Imade, Gazra, and Norberger with 1 vote as well. No one was voting for Abigar and Callistra. Everyone else was at least voted for.
I'd like to thank you all for voting to save Sarenrae. Dead Phoenix copes harder.
Yeah.
I need buttons.
I bet all of my Paizo channel points on Sarenrae, and I was wrong. I lost them all.
Oof.
I gambled. Well, all my channel points, all 300 of them.
Bonk. I'll take that for Alex.
Dang.
That was very appropriately timed for I lost them all. Bonk. Cartoon bonk sound. But anyway, that's gonna be it for us. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Good night.
Bye.